Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Wisdom Wednesday. My name is Kristen Gear. I am the Director of Operations and one of the two amazing managing directors for BNI Arizona. My counterpart, Miss Carolyn Savornik, is the other managing director. So together we help support all 84 amazing chapters around this valley. We help support all the leadership teams and all of the members as well. So please make sure to reach out to us if you need any assistance whatsoever. And every single week, I come to you guys providing a weekly education nugget called Wisdom Wednesday that counts as one chapter education unit for watching. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's edition. So to give you a little bit of an update, we still are in member extravaganza, guys. We have a week and a half left. So next Friday is the last chance for any applications to be submitted to count towards member extravaganza. So this counts for any new members coming into BNI. So if we have returning BNI members or transfers to chapters, those do not count towards member extravaganza, but it's amazing to see the growth that we are having around town. Outside of the member extravaganza numbers that have been amazing, and we already have one member that has hit the champion level. Miss Stephanie Reed has already sponsored 3 new members into BNI. So who's going to be the next one? We have a few other, like a handful of other people that are in that next level, that they only need one more to hit that final stage. So who's it gonna be? Got a week and a half left. All of those applications, they just need to be submitted by next Friday. And then we'll give our membership committees about 2 weeks to process any last applications to count towards member extravaganza. So they don't have to be approved by next Friday, but we want to make sure they are processed within 2 weeks after next Friday. So that is the update there. We are still having our member success program trainings, both on Zoom and in person. So we do have both offerings. All of the dates are on the BNI Arizona calendar. Our Zoom trainings are hosted by Miss Bonnie Maley, and our in-person member success program trainings are conducted by Mr. Nate Dominguez. So make sure to sign up. It is for new members as well as seasoned members. So not just new members are the ones that can take advantage of that amazing training. So please feel free to sign up, get refreshed with the information. I know I've attended probably about 15 to 20 times, and I always learn something new every time. So I highly recommend checking it out, getting a refresher, because you never know what you might learn and who you might meet as well. We've had great attendance at all of the recent trainings, so I highly recommend to check one of those out. Now, today's edition of Wisdom Wednesday is all about quality versus quantity. I know that, and this kind of pertains to everything that we do in BNI, with every aspect. It's all about quality over quantity. And a lot of times we get so caught up in our chapter goals and trying to hit certain numbers that we lose track of a little bit of that quality piece because we're so focused on quantity. So I wanted to make sure and just send out a reminder about let's start to make sure that we're really focusing on that quality piece versus quantity. So when it comes to BNI meetings, right? You want to make sure that you're showing up professional, making sure that everything that you do is quality when it comes to the attendance and you showing up to those meetings, right? So if we start to get a little bit lax, or we're like, they won't mind if this or they won't mind if that, let's make sure we're showing up and really showing our best when it comes to quality with our attendance in the meetings. The next is chapter education units, guys. There are so many amazing members that have really high numbers in chapter education units. We want to make sure that those are also quality over quantity. So just a reminder that a chapter education unit equals 1 hour of time. So this Wisdom Wednesday is the only education that is less than an hour that counts as one chapter education unit, which can be confusing. I totally understand that probably confused a lot of people. So many, I believe, are counting each podcast that they listen to as one chapter education unit. But you need a combination of multiple podcasts when it comes to those types of educational learning to equal that one chapter education unit. A great tip is if you are driving around town, you can utilize the BNI Business Builder app to listen to different podcasts. So I know that I've talked to several members lately that didn't even realize that BNI Business Builder also has its own separate app that you can access that material from. And Business Builder has amazing material like the Business Booster series and all the different learning courses in it. And that material itself was all comprised from BNI Corporate to help educate our members. So let's make sure that we are really focusing on that quality piece when it comes to our chapter education units. Because it's not about the number, really. If you have a high number and you're like, oh, I listened to all these podcasts, that is amazing. But we want to make sure that everyone is calculating them out the same. So that way it's even when it comes to our notable networking awards and people are getting the right credit where it's deserved. The next over for quality versus quantity is one-to-ones. So guys, and I mentioned this in the Mythbuster, but walking past someone in a grocery store is not a quality one-to-one. A one-to-one is an interaction with a fellow member or a group of members to where you're having strategic conversations about business and really getting to either know them both personally and professionally and creating some business strategies from that connection. It's not just about talking about the weather and just like a quick 5-minute call. You really need to have some substance behind marking something as a one-to-one. So it's all about building relationships in BNI, right? So we want to build those quality relationships, not just quantity. We encourage our members to build relationships with members all over town. It's much bigger than just the members in your chapter. If you're not maximizing building relationships with members in other chapters, I highly recommend to start doing that. Especially if you have a business that you are local and you can connect with people in different states or even different countries. One of the tips that I always recommend for members is to do a search in BNI Connect with those top professions in other states and other countries that you want to be connected with, and set up a one-to-one with them. The great thing about technology is that we have the availability to utilize Zoom if they are in another state or another country, or even a phone call will work as well. Having a one-to-one doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be face-to-face in person. We can utilize technology to have those one-to-ones, but it needs to be quality over quantity. We want to make sure that we're really providing value for each other in that one-to-one to really count that as a one-to-one. So it definitely is on the honor system when it comes to recording information in BNI Connect. We all understand that, but really think to yourself, okay, if you're submitting information, is this quality over quantity? Let's see, Dave had a question. Can I clarify that when you update your one-to-ones that you need to enter the date they occur, not the date you updated it in the app? So yes, when you submit a one-to-one, it's important to put the right date on that one-to-one, because if the other member already submitted that one-to-one for that same date, the cool thing is the system will pop up a notification letting you know, hey, this member has submitted a one-to-one already for that date. Do you want to proceed? And in that case, you can just click no, so that way it doesn't duplicate that information. And I definitely agree, Kelly. One-to-ones are the key to the city. They are the initial piece of growing relationships in BNI. If you're not having quality one-to-ones with fellow members and you're just focused on that quantity piece, your relationships aren't going to be the greatest, right? So if you're looking at your numbers and you're creating your goals for the next year and you're looking to see how many referrals you want to receive from BNI, you have to also factor in what you're giving in BNI too, because the more you give, the more you're going to receive. But if you aren't giving quality, if you're only throwing it out there and your numbers are fluffed because they're just quantity over quality, then that might be an opportunity to where we can adjust things so that way you are maximizing your membership in BNI. It's not about how many you can get, it's how many quality items that you can get in BNI. So the more quality one-to-ones that you can have, the more quality relationships that you're going to build, which will lead to bigger, better, and more amazing referrals that are sent your way, because then you're actually educating your sales team exactly who to look for, who to listen for you every single interaction that they come in contact with. If we're not having those quality conversations with each other, which I highly recommend the Power One-to-One form, because that ends with an action item at the end, if you guys didn't realize that. You want to make sure that you are at the very end of a one-to-one when you're talking about target markets and referral partners and what are great referrals for you and what are bad referrals for you. You want to make sure to share what are bad referrals for you as well, so that way other members aren't sending you referrals that either don't qualify as a referral for you or that you don't like working with. We want to make sure that we're educating on exactly who those key people are that we want to work with. The more that we can educate on that, the more those amazing referrals are going to send our way, which will then increase the quality of referrals versus quantity of referrals. Because when we start to focus on, oh my gosh, I just need to send all these referrals out, they start to get watered down and sometimes end up leads. And you know, we're not a leads organization, guys, all right? We're a referral organization. So we want to make sure we're passing those quality referrals, not quantity to where it's on the edge of becoming a lead. We want to warm up those introductions when it comes to referrals, so we're passing quality versus quantity, because then when you have all of that quality referrals, you are going to notice that thank you for closed business is going to skyrocket when it comes to that piece. And remember, guys, the thank you for closed business, we want to make sure that we're also remembering to record business from past BNI members and also business that you're receiving from visitors. Now, one of the questions that I've been asked recently is about recording thank you for closed business that you're giving to visitors. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't count in numbers if you're giving business to visitors because they're not a member of BNI yet. However, if they are going to reciprocate and give you business, now that you can count in your numbers in your chapter, because then you can thank you for closed business to visitor, which is at the very bottom of the member drop-down list. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the member drop-down list, you'll see two different options. You'll see one for BNI and one for visitor. So the BNI is intended for past BNI members and past BNI relationships. And the visitors is for any visitor that attends your meeting that passes you business that hasn't joined BNI yet. Now, always remember that if members are passing you business from other chapters, to utilize that cross-chapter search option, so that way it gives credit to the person who sent you the business. That is super important, because the best way to say thank you to a member for giving you a quality referral is submitting that thank you for closed business, because what will happen is then it will show under their number, under their chapter for giving that thank you for closed business to you. And that is super important. We're all about giver's gain and making sure members are getting credit for the love that they are passing to other BNI members, right? So let's make sure to keep this in mind, guys. Let's always focus on quality versus quantity when it comes to attendance, when it comes to one-to-ones, when it comes to chapter education units. when it comes to referrals, because all of that will lead to bigger, better thank you for closed business. And when we're having quality over all of those items in BNI and not fixating on how many you can get in a particular week or a month, if it's not quality. Now, if you're getting crazy numbers and it is quality, then amazing. Like, that is incredible. But we really want to focus on that quality piece, because without that quality, numbers are just numbers and it doesn't build relationships in the end. So if you have any questions about that, definitely let me know. Looking forward to seeing all of this amazing quality going around. Oh, and it also counts for visitors too, right? I almost missed it. That's the most important piece. When it comes to visitors, it's quality over quantity. Yes, we have visitor numbers. Yes, we're going through member extravaganza, and I've seen it many, many times to where chapters are declining applications, which is a good thing, guys, because that means chapters are focusing on quality versus quantity. Yes, our chapters love to grow, which is amazing, but we want to grow with the right people, because when we grow with the right people, then it brings quality to all the other aspects of BNI, with relationships, with referrals, even with retention. We want members to stick around and build lifelong relationships with our members. And if we're not focusing on that quality piece when it comes to bringing in brand new members from the visitors that are coming into our meetings, then it hurts that retention piece. And then you'll see chapters ebb and flow, which is definitely, there's always a natural attrition in every single chapter. It happens all over town. It's natural. But we want to make sure that we're always focusing on quality versus quantity. So if you have any questions, let me know, guys. And thank you so much for attending this week's edition of Wisdom Wednesday. And remember to record one chapter education unit for watching. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.